This is Paul for Redneck Sports. I believe that everybody should win in life, or at least attempt to. The first three maxims of General Robert Neyland's game maxims, I believe apply to everybody. The team that makes the fewest mistakes will win. Play for and make the breaks. When one comes your way, score. If at first the game or the breaks go against you, don't let up. Put on more steam. Welcome to the channel. Now let's discuss some sports. Like, subscribe, comment. Show what your opinion is. Let me know if you like what you've seen. And I thank you for your support.
Hey folks, if you want to help me out or contact me via my social media, all the links are down there in my link tree. So, I want to talk about this past weekend's games. Well, past weeks, I should say. And there are several games that I'm going to talk about. More than just what I talked about before in my previews. It was an interesting weekend. I don't even know where to begin. This season has been wild. And there's some teams that we need to pay attention to. College football playoffs coming up. And I honestly think that we are going to watch some very amazing games more coming up. Because there are folks that aren't paying attention to all the teams that they should be paying attention to. But we'll get into all of that now. So, here we go. You know me, I got to start with Tennessee and Alabama. The third Saturday in October. Oh. 24-17, Tennessee 6-1. We're bowl eligible and we beat Alabama. Now, for y'all that aren't Tennessee fans, you may not realize how old this rivalry is. It's been going on since 1901. It's like 101 games in there. Alabama's had like some amazing streaks in there. Tennessee's had a few streaks. But Tennessee's wide receivers did their job. Nico Iamaleava did their job. Okay, it was all in the second half, but they did their job. Jalen Milroe tried. I will give him that. But our defense did their job. Oh, this game. Now, the first half, I don't even want to know what that was the first half. I actually turned off the TV for a little while and I had to walk away. That was how annoyed I was at that game in the first half. But the second half, holy cow. Wow. That's all I got to say is wow. This was a great game to be a UT fan. And this is keeping Tennessee in the top 10, put us back in the top 10, keeping our college football playoff dreams alive. I'm going to say that this game was well worth the watch. And I think Nico Iamaleava finally has gotten to the point that he's getting comfortable with SEC football. I was shocked, but some of what he did and also our wide receivers showed that they can do their job. Took a while to get to that point in SEC play, but we've done it, and I'm hoping that we continue it. I really do. The next game that I'm going to talk about, and I'll admit I was a little shocked. The expressions on the faces of Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning said it all. It really did. 30-15, Georgia mollywopped Texas. I mean, there's not even a good way to put it. Georgia just handed Texas one nasty loss. And it isn't like Texas isn't a good team. They are a good team. Sark is a good coach, but Kirby Smart proved that he's a far better coach in this game. And few people pay attention. Both Steve Sarkisian and Kirby Smart worked under Nick Saban. Now, yes, Nick or Alabama for some reason has Georgia's number, but what Kirby Smart did when he took them down there, it wasn't even like Carson Beck had a good game. He had a far better game, but he didn't have as good of a game as you would think. He only completed 56% of his throws, had 3 interceptions. Quinn Ewers was at 58.1%. Arch Manning was at 50%. It wasn't like that these guys were at their best. But the game planning, that was all Kirby Smart. And you got to give it to him. Even though Carson Beck wasn't having the best game, it was far better than both Ewers and Manning, which is wild. So, if you didn't get to watch this game, worth watching. Holy cow. Go back. It'll be on the SEC network. If you've got that, watch it. Worth watching. Not if you're a Texas fan, though. Now, I'm going to do a quick thing on this. Colorado, Arizona. Colorado just whooped up on Arizona, 34-7. I have to say this. I am shocked. I really am. I am shocked that Colorado is doing as good as they're doing. I am not saying that I don't think that Colorado doesn't deserve with everything that's going on. Travis Hunter having to leave the game showed that the rest of the team is stepping up. Travis Hunter is definitely someone that should be on the watch to get a Heisman this year. Should be one of the top vote getters. But wow, they're doing things that really you should now be going, this is what they're doing. And they're going at, okay, they're playing Cincinnati. This is going to be a tough game for them. Texas Tech is probably going to be who gets them their bowl eligibility, which I am at shock. I am in shock. I will admit it. Texas or Colorado being bowl eligible. I did not think it was going to happen this year. But Texas Tech, Utah, I think those 2 games are winnable. I think Kansas is winnable. I'm not sure about Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State started out good. They always do, but I think that's winnable. So Cincinnati's their only opponent that they've got left that they have to watch out for. Think about that. They could go, they could be 9-3 after him coming into a program that was 1-11. This was a shock to me, and I'm glad it's happening, but wow. Okay, another game which I predicted. UNLV beat Oregon State 33-25. This is putting UNLV into a position where they should be looked at as one of the top considerations for the group of 5 slot for the college football playoff. I'm not saying that they will be, but this gives them that shot. Now, they're going to have to beat out Boise State. I think Boise State's got a better shot, but UNLV is showing that they're a good team. They're bowl eligible. I mean, it's a no-brainer at this point. And keep watch of them. This game was a pretty interesting game. Their quarterback completed 55.6% of their passes. Leading rusher, 65 yards rushing on 13 attempts. Jaden Thomas was their second, 14 attempts at rushing, 58 yards. Williams got 2 touchdowns. Ricky White, the third, 9 receptions, 88 yards, 1 TD. Jacob DeJesus, he had 71 yards with only 4 receptions. So this fella, 43-yard long. That fella right there, and a decent return, only 16 yards, but still decent run or return. So I think that UNLV's got a pretty complete team, and I think they should be watched. Matter of fact, I think they should be ranked, but they're a group of 5. So, Army versus East Carolina. I know East Carolina's not all that good, but Army's 7-0. Think about that. Army, a service academy. Army who's had a rough few years, is 7-0. They beat East Carolina 45-28. Now, this game shows me that they are probably not going to have a shot at beating Notre Dame. Notre Dame's like the big hurdle for both Army and Navy. But Bryson Daly, 70% completion rate, 171 yards rushing. This is their quarterback. 31 rushing attempts, 171 yards. They don't really have... The rest of the team's not that deep, though. But they're 7-0. And they do have a good team. Don't get me wrong. Their next best rusher is at 19 attempts, 102 yards. That's really good. Bryson Daly got 5 touchdowns by himself. Plus, he threw a touchdown to Miles Stewart. Their best receiver was 3 receptions, 85 yards. And his long was 41. Miles Stewart, who got the other touchdown, got 2 receptions, 21 yards, a long of 13. So, Army is scary. Whatever bowl game they go into, and yes, I think it matters as to how they do in the Army-Navy game, and I think they're going to be in the AAC championship, but Army's scary. I don't think they can beat Notre Dame, but I think they can beat a lot of Power 5 teams this year. With the way things are going, I think that there are a lot of Power 5 teams they could beat. So keep a watch out for this Army team. Now, my second favorite team in the nation, Navy, mollywopped Charlotte 51-17. 2 interceptions were returned for touchdowns. They overpowered Charlotte nastily. Blake Horvath, who I honestly think is a low-key Heisman candidate this year. 53.8% completion rate for throwing. He rushed 13 times for 56 yards. No TDs for him. Alex Teska, another weapon that people aren't paying attention to. Another person that we should be paying attention to. He's not given the ball as often as other people are, such as Eli Heidenreich. But when he is given the ball, he does something. And in this game, They kept going Teska. Teska rushed 8 times, 68 yards. Horvath, 13 times, 56 yards. Teska had 2 touchdowns. In rushing. In receiving, he had 1 receiving touchdown. 1 reception, 46 yards. That's right. He only received 1 time and ran it for 46 yards. Eli Heidenreich, who is their normal go-to guy, 3 receptions, 36 yards. Let me tell you something. When they play Notre Dame next week, they've got so many weapons, it ain't going to matter what Notre Dame's defense does. I honestly think this is they're 6-0 because they had last week off. This is the very definition of scary right here. And let me tell you, I would hate to be any of their opponents. They really are an overpowering team. No matter who they're playing, they work to overpower you. Army does a decent job of it, but Navy, this is a game you should have been watching. If you haven't seen a Navy game this year, you're missing out. Now look, there are other games that I could cover. Notre Dame won. JMU disappointed. I've been following JMU for a few years now. Oh, I'm disappointed in them. Oregon did not have a letdown after a big win. They're acting like the number 1 team in the nation. Oregon is number 1 team in the nation now. Georgia, number 2. Penn State, number 3. Penn State's undefeated. Think about that. They're 6-0. Oregon 7-0. Georgia's 6-1. And they lost to an Alabama team. So, yeah. Florida State is, FSU's just said no to this season. I mean, you take a look at the games this week. I think, in all honesty, that Notre Dame, they deserve where they're at. They're number 12, but I think they're fixing to have a tougher opponent than they're expecting coming in. Well, they're probably expecting it, but Army and Navy are ranked. Think about that. Army and Navy are ranked. Vanderbilt is ranked. They're 5-2, but they're ranked. And here's the only thing that I've got a problem with. They barely took down Ball State. They lost earlier this year to Missouri and Georgia State. Okay, so they were finding themselves. But they're playing Texas. Auburn's probably a win. South Carolina, I don't even want to begin to know what that's going to be. But LSU and Tennessee. Do they have a chance? Right now they are 5-2. All they have to do is win one more game. But they got a murderer's row coming in, other than Auburn. I think they're going to be qualified for a bowl game just because of Auburn. But seriously, if you ain't watching some college football, don't watch pros. I'm tired of the pros. It's bad enough that college football players are basically pros. There's some good football going on, and this week showed it. I mean, for Pete's sake, Colorado's relevant again. South Carolina mollywopped Oklahoma. I guess the assistants from Oklahoma being head coaches now, going into Oklahoma and beating them is a thing. The group of five's got some good games going on. South Florida is trying. They played UAB, and, well, that was an automatic win. This is a far different landscape than I thought it would be at the beginning of the year. But this has been Paul with Redneck Sports. Y'all have a good day, and y'all get to enjoying some college football next week.
Thank you for watching this video. I've had some fairly good success with all of my redneck sports stuff. And I hope you enjoyed the topic. If you did, like, subscribe, comment, all that rigmarole. And also, just let me know what you want to hear about. I'll give a redneck spin to this stuff. Let me tell you, I love sports. So I love people that want to join me in that. This has been Paul with Redneck Sports. Y'all have a good day now. Bye.